Imagine 74,000 years ago. The air grows heavy, the sky a bruised purple. A rumble. Not an earthquake, no. Something far, far deeper. The earth itself groans, then, tears open. Mount Toba. In a single, cataclysmic roar, it unleashed hell. Ash clouds, miles high, blotted out the sun for years. A volcanic winter descended, chilling the entire planet. Humanity, a fragile species clinging to existence, was pushed to the brink. Our ancestors, reduced to a mere few thousand individuals, a genetic bottleneck so severe, it rewrote our very DNA. This single event, this fiery apocalypse, shaped who we are today, how we spread across the globe, the very trajectory of our species. But what if it never happened? What if the Earth remained silent, its fury contained? What if Toba never blew? Without that devastating winter, the fragile threads of early human populations would not have snapped. Instead of a desperate retreat, a population collapse that nearly ended our story, imagine expansion. More varied human groups, thriving in different niches across Africa, perhaps already venturing further into Arabia and Asia. Imagine the distinct protocultures, the unique dialects, the diverse genetic lineages that would have flourished, lineages lost to the great filter of Toba. Instead of a desperate scramble for survival, perhaps a gradual, more confident spread. Picture early Homo sapiens, not unified by a shared trauma, but diversified by separate paths, different adaptations to varied landscapes. Could this lead to multiple independent centers of innovation? Different forms of tool-making emerging simultaneously across continents. Imagine not one out of Africa story, but many, overlapping migrations, enriching the human tapestry from the start. The pressure of a bottleneck often accelerates innovation, but it also reduces diversity. Without Toba's brutal culling, perhaps early human societies would have had more time to experiment, to specialize, to build upon a broader base of knowledge. Consider agriculture. The traditional narrative places its rise in specific river valleys, driven by climate shifts and growing populations. But what if populations were already larger, more scattered, more stable tens of thousands of years earlier? Could the agricultural revolution have begun not in the Fertile Crescent, but in multiple locations, almost concurrently? Imagine early villages, not just in Mesopotamia, but in the heart of Africa, along the forgotten rivers of ancient Australia, or the lush valleys of a new unglaciated Eurasia, emerging thousands of years before our own historical timeline. This isn't just about more people, it's about different people. Different perspectives. Different ways of seeing the world. Would we still have developed the same spiritual beliefs? The same artistic expressions? Perhaps entirely new pantheons, new forms of art, born from cultures that never faced the existential threat that forged ours. And what about the impact on the natural world? A larger, more diverse early human population might have interacted with megafauna differently. Perhaps earlier, more varied hunting techniques, or conversely, earlier forms of domestication that saved some species from extinction. The very landscape itself could be different. Early settlements, earlier land management practices, perhaps even earlier forms of environmental manipulation, for better or worse. The course of our planet's ecosystems, irrevocably altered. Would the great empires of antiquity still rise? Or would their foundations be laid upon a mosaic of long-established, highly diverse civilizations, each with its own unique history stretching back into the deep past? Would Rome even exist in a recognizable form? Would Europe, Asia, Africa, be a patchwork of utterly alien cultures, their origins lost in the mists of a much richer, much older human history? The Toba eruption, in our timeline, acted as a reset button, a cosmic culling. It streamlined humanity, forcing us through a narrow gate. Without it, humanity's story becomes a sprawling, entangled epic, a multitude of stories, each vibrant, each unique. A world where humanity might not even be a singular concept, but a kaleidoscope of distinct, ancient peoples, shaping the planet in ways we can barely comprehend. It forces us to ask, what genius, what discoveries, what entire civilizations were lost to that singular moment of fire and ash? What might we have become, if the Earth had simply slept? The thought is staggering, isn't it? One silent volcano, one averted disaster, and the entire tapestry of human existence unravels into something utterly unfamiliar. This is the power of alternate history, to peel back the layers of what was, and glimpse the infinite possibilities of what could have been. And to remind us just how profoundly fragile, and yet how incredibly resilient, our species truly is. What other pivotal moments in history could have reshaped everything? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're as fascinated by these what-if scenarios as I am, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the forgotten paths of history and mythology.